What's up, everybody? It's that time again. Time for the Picks and Parlays Power Hour. Coming to you Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. My name's Allie Burns from Picks and Parlays. We're brought to you by the Max Wagers Network, and we are sponsored by BetMGM. They're our official sports book, and for all new accounts, they're going to get you hooked up with up to $1,000 in a risk-free first bet. All you got to do is use the promo code MORNING and check out the description of the video. You can just click on the link. Before we get rolling along, everybody like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. We got some stuff to talk about today, guys. We are talking AFC East, the odds and the predictions. We're talking SEC odds and predictions, and we're talking about the Jaguars regular season win total. We're going to kick it off with Mr. Sean Higgs talking about the AFC East. How's it going, Higgy?
Oh, pretty good. Excited. Football is here, right? 2 days away from the Hall of Fame game. Guess what?
Under. That's all you've been sticking in my head for like weeks now. Under. When I hear that game, I'm like, under. That's all I know.
Yep.
Sean
and then Nick will be up next with the season win total on the Jags. So.
And there you go. There you have it. Okay, so AFC East, we got the Patriots, we got the Bills, we got the Dolphins, we got the Jets. I like the Jets a lot this season. I like their win total over the 5.5. I know everyone's super high on the Bills. What are your thoughts on this, Sean Higgs? You're the mastermind behind the operation.
Well, we're going to start at the bottom here with the Jets. And I do like, it's over 5.5. I like it. But you're laying 155. It's tough laying 155 with the Jets.
I know.
I almost want to find like a 6. Like you could, listen, the books have, your 5.5s or whatever. But let's be honest, most of these places pick your wins, right? You can go, it's kind of like the strikeout props they have. You can go 6, you can ladder them up if you think it's going to be better or worse than it is. So, if you can get over, if you want 6 at the minus 110, or I'm just saying, I don't know what the number is, folks. It's obviously not going to be minus 155. I see them as like a 6-7 win team. So I could, the 5.5, I just can't do the 155. I like the coach. I like the QB. I like what they did in the draft. And you expect to take a step forward. So, yeah, I do like the over. The over. And again, it's just right, 155.
Like, minus 155 is not doable because you're tying up your money for 6 freaking months and to like cash out pay $1.55 to win $1 and you're holding up that cash for 6 months. It's just there's no value there. So you're absolutely right, Higgs. You got to buy that sucker up.
Yeah. And that's also nothing. Like a lot of people don't like to tie their money up. I mean, I know people who don't want to bet on a Monday for the next Sunday game because they're worried about a live bet in NBA on a Tuesday night or something. Right. So you know what, folks? It takes time to grind out the bankroll, build it up to be able to lock your money up for 6-7 months at a time. But that's what we try to do here. Again, kind of like the Jets. Maybe you want to look at a coach of the year for Salih at 2,500, plus 25 to 1. Think about it. They come win 7-8 games on a fluke. He'll get some consideration. But again, you're locked into the Super Bowl with that. Yep. My next team I look at, you got Miami and the Pats are both 450 to win a division here. Now, Miami just got a big fine here. I just saw on Twitter that apparently since their owner and the manager are suspended, it looks like Fergie and Mark Anthony are next up as like the managing partners. Fergie and Mark Anthony of, I need to know why we were throwing games. Yeah. I mean, this, so they said it's a tampering charge of Brady. Let's be honest. The owner should be in jail with the coach for throwing games. Like they basically fixed games last year for draft picks. So, but 8.5 last year, the win total was 9. Now I get it. They bring in Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa turnover. Although, that's funny to say. The guy actually completes like 68% of his passes. Tyreek Hill's there. Are they going to throw the ball deep, right? Or is it going to be a lot of short passes and expecting him to take a breakaway? And Tua said, he's like, well, they didn't let me throw downfield. So he's blaming the coaches. Now you got a new coach in there, offensive coordinator from San Fran. Before that, he was like the run game coordinator, running back coach. So I don't know like how he's going to transpire off 1 year with Garoppolo. Maybe it's the same, and I like Gucci Garoppolo. I like that cat. So I'm not saying Tua's Gucci. I'm just saying the total looks strange to me, 8.5. When last year they won 9 games and they got rid of the coach. So this is I'm actually going to say under. If you're asking, it would be an underplay here for me. Again, not betting it. It's only The over is -120. Unders even money. Not looking to get involved in this one. Now the Patriots, if I'm looking to take something here, you'd say probably the Patriots. This is Belichick, right? Plus, 450 is nice. But who's calling the plays here on offense and defense? They're Josh McDaniels. He's in Vegas. He's a Vegas guy now. So their OC is gone, and everybody like Mac Jones there. And again, it's tough to go against a team that always just seems to make the right kind of moves, cutting veterans, don't want to pay nobody, bringing some guys in. But the defense kind of worries me. 1-4 down the stretch, 35 points per game. And that was, I don't know if people realize that was, I think his son was calling the defensive plays here. So maybe, I don't know what it is. Maybe he's the offensive guy. I have no idea because he's so tight-lipped. You don't know who the heck's calling. I don't know what's going on in New England.
Right.
So again, plus it's New England. It's tough to not take a plus money with the Patriots, but, and this is going to be a rarity. Here we go, folks. You're the plus money honey. I said to him like the plus dollar daddy, but I'm gonna say -125 with the Bills. They're gonna win this division. I like the over 11.5. Josh Allen is the favorite to win the MVP. What's there to do? I mean, they signed Von Miller though, a 6-year contract. What does this guy have left in the tank? How old is Von Miller? I mean, whatever. Again, you're going for a Super Bowl run. It's like baseball trade deadline today, right? You bring up guys in, you're just trying to make that push to get there. Obviously, this is a team that lost a wild one to the Chiefs. They think they're right there. Again, 225. I'm going to have to say that's the way to go. I mean, I'm not one for laying. I don't like laying 125 in baseball. Why the heck? But I like 225. I don't think a team's short of him, Allen. And I haven't saying things like getting hurt and losing quarterbacks. How is this team not winning 12 or 13 games? They're just that much better than a lot of teams in the league. So
that's the fact of the matter.
If and we got a lot of juice bettors, right? Now they love to lay the heavy faves and time up with crazy parlays. So the 225, I guess, could probably be low to some people. They're that much better. So if you want to do it, I can't say no. It would be my pick. It would be my pick. The Bills are the class of the AFC East. What else is there to say?
I really like the addition of Von Miller. I mean, 6 years is a long contract, granted. However, I think not only what does he bring to the table besides what happens on the field, he's a great guy in your locker room.
Yep.
If you saw at the end of the Super Bowl, he's hyping up Aaron Donald. He's like, dude, this is your moment. And, he's just that we talk about a lot of times how that one bad guy in your locker room can spoil the whole bunch. Yep. Von Miller, I feel like, is the opposite of that. He's just a guy you want around to motivate your team. So, I mean, even if it is a long contract.
He was on a Broncos Super Bowl winner, right? Was he on a Broncos team?
He did the Broncos, and then he played, I think, 1 year with the Rams, and now he's over with the Bills.
I wasn't sure if he was on the Super Bowl team back in the day, but he's been in the league for a bit. I don't know. It's kind of hard to keep up with how long these guys been playing.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm going to still say yes, he was. Don't quote me that he was on the Super Bowl team, but I do know he was on the Broncos. Nonetheless, the point is that he's a positive guy. He's got a great attitude, and I think he can really help kind of propel that Bills team into the confidence that they need to have in themselves, I guess.
He's going to come in there and be like, hey, look at this. You see this ring? You want to get one of these? Let's go. You want one of those? Let's get there. So, I agree with you. You can bring in the locker room guys, bring experienced veteran guys. Can't do nothing but help.
Exactly. Positive attitudes create positive results. And that's a beautiful.
And these guys are just talented and deep on both sides of the ball. So, I mean, it's cliche time this time of year, right? Everyone's like, oh, it's, but let's be honest. This team is good. They're very good.
Cliche time is a good way to put it because it is. All right, Sean Higgs, thank you so much for joining us. Tell the people over at picksandparlays.net, what are you up to if people are looking for your premium plays?
Oh, it's all, listen, Hall of Fame games and
under
the regular NXL exhibition kicks off next Thursday. So, but basically baseball, a lot of baseball right now, but there will be exhibition football, NFL preseason. You can make money, folks. Don't make no mistake about it. That is why the sportsbook limit to what you can put on these games, like that, they don't limit regular season. Come on in, go ahead, fire away. Preseason, they check that down because it is beatable, and that's what we plan on doing. Another solid August on tap for us.
So if you Picks and Parlays viewers are looking to beat the NFL preseason, make sure that you check out Sean Higgs over at picksandparlays.net. Check out his show every single day, 7 days a week at noon Eastern. It's called Midday Money. Check out his YouTube page, Winning Free Picks. Sean Higgs is the business, y'all. Use that promo code CFL. Save 20% off on his best bets. Sean Higgs, thank you so much. We will see you again soon right here on the Picks and Parlays Power Hour.
Take it easy. Thanks.
Cheers. All right, guys. So up next, we're going to have Nick Parsons come on and talk some Jaguars regular season win totals. But before we get that party started, I've got to remind you, like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Also, don't forget about our sponsor, BetMGM. Use that promo code MORNING. It is going to get you hooked up if you're a new account, up to $1,000 in a risk-free first bet. Use the promo code MORNING or just check out the description of the video and click on the link. All right, now it's time from Nick Parsons from the Insiders Room. Nick, over at the Picks and Parlays leaderboard, the Insiders Room is number one over the last 30 days. You guys are crushing it. How are you feeling today, sir?
Yep, feeling great. And looking forward to getting into the Jags here with you.
All right. So we got a regular season win total of 6.5. What are you feeling on the Jags this season?
Well, the Jags last year, I mean, what can you say? It was obviously a disaster. There were so many detractors about Urban Meyer's character, and obviously they were right. It was a miserable failure. He was just 2-11 as a coach in the NFL. Now, Doug Peterson has been brought in to help a team that has had 10 losing seasons out of the last 11 years. Peterson, he was 42-37-1 with Philadelphia. He helped them earn a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence's first year was pretty much a miserable failure as a rookie. He'll be hoping for much better results as a sophomore. But clearly, it wasn't entirely his fault. He only had multiple touchdowns, though, in just twice in his 17 starts. He only completed 59.6% of his passes. But yeah, as I was just about to say, it was hardly just his own fault. He had very little weapons around him. He had a terrible line in front of him. This over-under line of 6.5 does make sense, though, because the Jaguars, they've only won 6 games, more than 6 games, just once since 2011. So Travis Etienne, he's back with Jacksonville. He's looked really good in camp, it's been reported. But will his return and will Doug Peterson's hiring, is that going to be enough to push Jacksonville over 6.5? Well, obviously, Ali, we got to look at the schedule. And so if we look at the schedule here, it's not an easy one, in fact, for Lawrence and the Jaguars coming up, which you would think it would be after finishing so terrible last year. But they're 4-point underdogs at Carson Wentz and at the Commanders in week 1. And Jacksonville is just 1-4 in its last 5 games, or last 5 week 1 games. And they've also lost 16 straight on the road, dating back to week 15 of 2019. Week 2, they're 4.5-point underdogs at home to the Colts. Actually, Indianapolis is 0-6 at home, or 0-6 in Jacksonville its last 6, interestingly. And then in week 3, they're 10-point underdogs to Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Week 4, they're 6.5-point underdogs in Philadelphia. Weeks 5 and 7 is the only time in the whole year that they're favored. They're 3.5-point favorites to the Texans, 1.5-point favorites. They're 3.5-point favorite versus the Texans, and 1.5-point favorite over the Giants at home. Week 8, the Jaguars, they're over in England. Jacksonville is just 4-4 in games in London. And then they face Derek Carr and the Raiders as 3-point home underdogs, followed by a trip to Kansas City where they're 10.5-point underdogs. Then they host Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They're 4-point home underdogs. Then they're on the road in Detroit as 2.5-point underdogs. And so then over the final 5 weeks of the season, they have to face the Titans twice. Tennessee is 9-1 the last 10 in the series. So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, they're only favored twice out of their 17 games. I said off the top, this isn't a very easy schedule for a team that finished so horribly last year. So I do think Jacksonville is going to be slightly better this year, but I think that improvement, it will indeed, be very slight. So The future probably will be better for the Jaguars, but not this year, Allie. I'm going under 6.5 wins.
I mean, I think you have to. And by saying their season is going to be slightly better, so they win 3, so they win 4, because that's slightly better. 6.5 is a lot when you look at what they did last season. And I remember seeing a stat as Trevor Lawrence was coming out of Clemson, that he had gone undefeated since high school. He had not lost a football game since high school. And so for that to be your inaugural year in the NFL, that had to sting a little bit. And he's a solid quarterback. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's definitely got the gumption in him to pull it together, but it's not just one guy in the NFL. In college football, one guy can kind of carry a team in a way that you can't in the NFL. I wish them all the best. I really do, Jaguars.
I wish you all the best. A few more pieces on both sides of the field. Absolutely.
Exactly. 6.5 is just too many to make a bet on at this point. So I'm with you. We got to take this under. It's the only way we can do it. Now, like I was saying, at the site, you guys are up about $1,300 over the last 30 days. That's the insider's room. What are you guys doing to make all that money, Nick Parsons?
Well, as Higgs was saying, I mean, it's just baseball right now. Actually, we've been playing some CFL. We're 7-2 our last 9 in the CFL. But as he was mentioning, the NFL is right around the corner. We finished 9-1 over the playoffs and Super Bowl with our picks. So we're taking that run into the preseason. We also like to bet a lot of preseason. I mean, we got your back covered in every sport. Come check out the Insider's Room over at picksandparlays.net.
Yes. And when you do that, don't forget about that promo code CFL. That's going to save you 20% off whatever you purchase from the Insider's Room. #1 over the last 30 days. Thanks for stopping by, Nick Parsons. I'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Allie.
Cheers. All right, everybody. So we are going to move into some college football action. All right. We're going to talk the SEC. We've got Ross Benjamin here to do it. Before we get started, don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and check out BetMGM. Up to $1,000 in a risk-free first bet for all new accounts. Use that promo code MORNING or check out the description of this video. Get yourself hooked up with BetMGM. Lots of money to be made this season. All right, without further ado, I've got Ross Benjamin here talking SEC. How's it going, Ross?
Hey, it's going good. Football season is nearing. Baseball 10-star top plays for me continue to roll. So all is good, Ellie.
You're rocking and rolling over at picksandparlays.net, just like you always do. I mean, no surprise there, But I know this is your season. This is one of your bread and butter seasons. College football's upon us, NFL. So let's talk the SEC. As you can see here, I don't need to name all the teams because they're all clearly labeled right here in this graphic for you. Compliments of Detroit Lenny. Tell me, what are your thoughts? What are your initial feelings on the SEC this season?
Yeah, before I get to that, real quickly, Von Miller did play for the Broncos when they won the Super Bowl and beat Carolina.
Okay.
It was last year that Peyton Manning played. So you were correct there.
That's okay. I thought that also, that he was on the Peyton Manning team, but without Googling real quick, I couldn't sell it. I just couldn't sell it.
That was the year that Peyton Manning got benched and then came back in the later part of the season and went on a roll for them to win the Super Bowl. But Von Miller was actually the MVP of that Super Bowl too. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
I love that guy. I love Von Miller. Let me just say that. I love Von Miller.
Bad news for the Bills today is Jordan Poyer was hurt in practice today and possible serious arm injury. He's an all-pro. So I'll keep my fingers crossed there. And nobody wants to see a star player get hurt in training camp, no matter what.
Especially when they're on your team, huh, Mr. Bills man?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Anyway, and I like Sean's breakdown. It was fantastic. So was Nick's. So nothing surprising here, right?
We keep some sharp handicappers over at Picks and Parlays. It's kind of how we stay in business,
All right. So let's see if I could live up to those gentlemen's performances. The SEC, look, here's the thing. See all those teams that are listed below Ellie right there? There's only 3 of them that are really worth talking about when it comes to the possibility of winning the SEC. And those 3 teams, in my estimation, are the 2 obvious ones in Alabama and Georgia. And then Texas A&M at real inviting odds of plus 850. And now look at Alabama. Bryce Young is back. Heisman Trophy candidate, probably the favorite going into the season, if not one of the top 3 favorites. Alabama ranked number 1 in the preseason polls. Anything shocking there, Ellie? I don't think so. It seems like ever since Saban has come aboard, they're preseason number 1 every year. Having said all that, you look at Alabama's road slate, it's not as easy as some of the other 2 teams in the SEC that I want to mention, and being Georgia and A&M. 4 top 25 teams on the road slate now: Tennessee, Arkansas, Ole Miss in a non-conference game at Texas. And then they also travel to Baton Rouge, Louisiana to take on LSU late in the year. Now, this figures to be a down year for LSU and Brian Kelly's first season there. A lot of changeover in personnel, but you never know. If you're going to play LSU, you want to play them early, not late in the year where they might have a time to gel. Having said all that, I'm thinking that they're going to get upset in one of these road games. It just stands to reason to me that this is top to bottom, unequivocally in my mind, a top conference again in college football. And their home slate is a cakewalk, meaning Alabama, with the exception of Texas A&M, who they'll host on October the 8th. And that'll be a huge game, Ellie, because this is an A&M team that's totally capable. I mean, they handed Alabama their only regular season loss a season ago, 41-38 at College Station. Of course, this year's matchup will be in Tuscaloosa, and you can make the case that Alabama's going to be playing with big-time revenge. Yes, but you could also go the other side of the coin and say A&M, who finished 8-4 last season and should be much better this year, it has the confidence in knowing they could play and beat Alabama. And speaking of A&M, Jimbo Fisher is assembling quite a program since he arrived at Texas A&M. They were a little downtrodden when he got there. They were 8-4 last year. They're 34-14 since Jimbo Fisher arrived on campus. And they're also the owners of the top recruiting class in 2021. So look for a lot of impact players coming in as freshmen. This is an A&M defense. They did lose 6 players to graduation. However, they allowed 14 points or fewer in 6 of their 12 games last season. That'll keep you in a lot of games, especially if your offense is having an off day. Their schedule is very doable. And when I say doable, they're going to be favorites in 11 of 12 games this year by my estimation. The time they won't be is at the game at Alabama. I'm sorry?
No, I was at Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, Georgia, the defending champs, 14-1 a season ago, beat Alabama in the national championship game, avenging their only loss of the season, which came to Alabama in the SEC title game. But you know what, Ellie? 16 players went in the NFL draft from last year's Georgia team. That's a lot of talent to replace. Yeah. However, they've recruited real well, and the cupboard won't be dry. And if you look, I should say, won't be bare. And if you look at their schedule, the opener against Oregon will be played in Atlanta. They should still have an advantage there. Right now, a 16.5-point favorite. Their only road team the only team they're going to face on the road, I should say, that's currently ranked in the top 25 preseason poll is at Kentucky. They should be favored in all 12 games. They don't face Alabama during the regular season. They don't face A&M during the regular season. So Georgia, I would almost say by default, will win that end of the division in the SEC. And I'm going to predict that A&M is going to qualify in the other division. And they're going to upset Alabama at Alabama. And I'm going out on a limb there. But you know what? I can't sit here and tell you Alabama and Georgia are going to be in the SEC title game again, even though it looks that obvious. So I like Alabama to win the SEC this year at odds of plus 850, because you'll never catch me tying my money up for 7 months on a team like Alabama at minus 140, or even a team like Georgia, who is currently right now plus 140. So I'm going to take a shot here, Ellie.
All right. Ooh, sorry. All right. Well, I like what you're doing with this. I mean, it's tough because teams like Alabama and Georgia, Georgia loses 16 players, but they're one of those unload, reload kind of teams. I'm from Texas. I dig Jimbo Fisher. I dig the Aggies. I'm all for them in this division. Also, I see Julie Carley there in the chat. Go Hogs. Love me some Arkansas Razorbacks as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing you forget about the SEC is there are other teams there besides Alabama and Georgia. And there's value on those teams if you play them properly. Great analysis as always, Ross Benjamin. Now, over at picksandparlays.net, crushing leaderboards, making that money. Tell the people what they're going to find when they buy your best bets, your premium plays.
Well, Major League Baseball, since the start of last season, my 10-star top plays 54 and 36. I had my 10-star game of the week this past Sunday. I had the Arizona and Atlanta game to go under 8.5, and that game finished 1-0, easy winner. NFL preseason starts on Thursday, Ellison, and like Sean said, anybody who tells you there's no money to be made in the NFL preseason and how could you handicap those games? Well, I've had 4 top 10 finishes since 2010. Last year started slow, 2-4, but finished 8-2 with my last 10 in the NFL preseason. So a 10-6 year, and a lot of good handicappers at our site, picksandparlays.net, that know what they're doing during the NFL preseason. Don't be afraid to invest money, and don't be afraid to make some bets and make some money.
Yes, indeed. And I would love if you could come on the Morningwood Show, 1 p.m. Eastern, sometime next week, just like you did last season, and give us a rundown on how to bet the NFL preseason. Because I know the viewers were thrilled to hear your angles and the way that you rolled during this semi-volatile time of the season, what can be a volatile time of the season, unless you know what you're doing. And you know how you get to know what you're doing? You ask a professional like Ross Benjamin. And so that's what we do. So if you could come on Morningwood next week on Thursday, that would be fantastic.
It would be my pleasure, Ellie.
All right. Beautiful. All right, everybody. Ross Benjamin, find him at picksandparlays.net. Use that promo code CFL. That's going to save you 20% off all of his best bets. You want to get on board with this guy. Get a week-long, a month-long, a year-long subscription. Get the NFL pass for the entire season from Ross. That's value, people. That's what we're looking for when we're betting on sports. Thanks so much, Ross Benjamin. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me, Ellie. Always a pleasure.
Cheers. All right, guys, that just about does it for our Picks and Parlays Power Hour. Don't miss us. We are on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. This is information you guys need to have before the NFL season starts. Also, use that promo code CFL when you're over at the picksandparlays.net site and you're buying premium plays. And again, don't forget about the sponsor, BetMGM. If you are a new account signing up to BetMGM, use the promo code MORNING and it's going to get you hooked up with $1,000, up to $1,000 in a risk-free first bet. It's kind of a big deal, y'all. Kind of a big deal, So make that happen. Like, subscribe, ring that bell, and we'll check you out tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern for another round of the Picks and Parlays Power Hour.